Hi, everyone. We're very happy to be here in this first episode of our podcast, and we're very happy to have you listening to this. So, for all of you who do not know me, I am Juanita Acero, owner and founder of Acero Holistic Consulting, and I have the honor of having sitting next to me my husband, Paul Perrin. He has agreed to sit down and have some conversations that are going to delve into consciousness, health, the evolutionary aspects of health, well being, and many different things that we're going to be addressing throughout different episodes. And I am very lucky to have you here, Paul, if you want to introduce yourself.
Thank you. Like you said, name's Paul Perron. And yeah, you invited me on just so we could sort of just have a conversation and for your listeners, viewers to get a little bit of my perspective maybe. Being that you're new here in the US a couple years, when we meet new people who I grew up with or who I've known from the past and we introduce ourselves, the question always comes up, so what do you do? And whenever it comes time for you to answer, it's never an easily understood answer. So, one of the things we're going to do in this first episode is just have a little talk, have a chat. So, maybe everyone out in the world who does not live in your universe will understand more what it is you do, because even though we're married and we've been, we share our lives together, you and I do have a different perspective on how the universe operates, how things work. So just two slightly different perspectives into the same world, and we'll just have a conversation about it. All right.
That's right. Throughout the years that we've been married, we've had many talks regarding what I do.
Yep.
And I think that throughout that time, you've been able to see reason in many of the things that I do.
Oh
You
yeah.
still disagree with some. But what we're trying to do as well is to make these topics or turn these topics into like little beats of information, because in many cases I tend to over give information, and then the person that comes up to me and is trying to learn a little bit about this get a little bit,
Yeah, you
what
just
would
overwhelm them
I
with too
overwhelm them.
much information in a non-linear track. So
Many things happen in my head at the same time. So yeah, that tends to happen a lot. And so I think that to an extent, the reason that you agreed to do this and that you're here is because you're going to serve a little bit of as an interpreter
yeah,
into what
that's fair.
someone that is not involved in this type of approaches to health, but is interested in learning more about it, needs to know, right?
Yeah, that's a fair way to put it. And especially in the last 5, 6 years or so, I think a lot of people have learned to realize that maybe not everything is what it seems in terms of what we have been told about everything around us, health, safety, life, all those fun, enormously important existential questions that people tend to avoid. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just about understanding that perspective, and like you said, I do not live in the spiritual world like you do.
Yes.
I mean, I dip my toe in it because I'm married to you, so obviously I'm aware of it. I'm involved with it to an extent secondhand through you.
Yes.
But there are many benefits and there are many um what I don't know the word I'm looking for. There are many facets of what you do that are effective and useful and do work, and they do exactly what it is you say they do. That mm, people that some people might scoff at as pseudoscience, as this, that, or the other. It's not the traditional form of therapy or traditional way of getting better or healing a problem or treating a symptom, as you
Treating a
call it in your
symptom.
world. So I just think it'll be good for you and I to work together to have these conversations to get a deeper understanding for people like me and people who have more of my background to have a better understanding of what it is people like you do and what you specifically do.
Yeah. So I think we just got the name of this podcast. This podcast is probably going to be called like the middle ground,
That's a good idea.
because that's what we're trying to do here, guys. We're just trying to have conversations and get to this middle ground. So you're not all the way down into different paths of spirituality, because this is also something that's very important. Everything is spiritual. Like if you're here in this existence, you are going through a spiritual existence. So everything's spiritual. And then from his perspective, everything is logical. Is that the case? Or that's how you feel
Uh,
about it?
I'd say that almost everything can be explained logically,
Okay. So
and you probably would not say that if I had to guess.
but that's
You
the
would just say
thing.
there's another layer that I'm not seeing,
There
probably.
might be layers, but I want you to understand also how this specific branch of or approach to health can be very logical if you allow yourself to actually follow the step by step to it. And that is what has been able, like Paul has been able to understand, and that's what we are trying to walk people in the process of understanding.
Yeah. All right, love. So, the big question, got to ask it. What do you do? What does Juanita Acero do? What is Acero Holistic Consulting? I know that was several questions, but what do you do, love?
I walk people to or through the process of changing their lives for better. That is the best and most concise way of saying it.
So, someone comes to you, they just say, "Hey, I have X problem in my life. I don't want this in my life anymore. Can you help me?" And it
Yes,
could be a hundred different reasons, but you are essentially there just to help someone make a change in their life.
exactly. And
Okay.
then, depending on each person, we are going to tailor the approach for them
Okay.
because every person is unique. And some people are going to try to delve into what we call a consciousness path from the hand of conscious bioexistence. Other people might think like, no, what I really need to do is that I want to reconnect with myself, and because I got lost somehow in the way. And so we're going to help them in that process through different tools. We can also go and help moms that are having problems with their kids because they're not eating at all anything that seems relatively healthy. And so we pretty much address anything that makes your life uncomfortable right now.
Okay.
And this is the goal and mission of Acero Holistic Consulting, to just change your life, transformation, that you're able to wake up in the mornings and say, this life that I'm living is worth living. And even though you see challenges throughout your day, you know that it's a life that is worth living.
Can you tell me some of the symptoms you're working with some of your clients? What are some of the reasons why someone might come and see you and work with you for your consulting?
Yes, people would come to me because they're suffering with financial issues, like money issues, or they're having problems with their fertility. They're not able to conceive or carry a baby to term. They can also come because they're having relationship struggles. And this one's a big one, because they're not feeling comfortable with their partner, or they're not able to find their kids. They also come to me because they are having problems, not or feeling like they're not connected or feeling emotionally connected to their children. And I have also people that come to me because they're going through a process of breast cancer, liver cancer, any physical symptom, they can come to me for sessions.
All right, wow. So that's a lot of different categories of problems people have. It's not just medical, it's not just psychological. It seems to just kind of be any anything in life that you don't like. If you want help changing that, you're the type of person that someone could work with.
Yes. As long as you're willing to understand why is this situation showing up in your life, this is something that we can address.
Okay, interesting. So, and a lot of the different symptoms you work with your clients, those are medical and psychiatric issues. So, and it's not like you are replacing medical professionals or anything like that, though.
No, not at all. I think that this is very important. I think that people really need to understand this. I see the best results when I am addressing a symptom, either physical, emotional, mental, whatever you want to call it, if a person is also doing a process with someone else. It's just like the results
What do you mean,
of
someone else?
like a medical
Okay,
professional. Let's
with a
say right now,
doctor.
yeah,
Okay.
right now I have, like, for example, a case, breast cancer case, and they're doing the traditional route. And they're also doing
Like
the
chemotherapy.
exactly everything. They're also doing a process through one of the methods that I use, that is through unconscious bioexistence. And then what happens is that this person has seen faster results that even the doctors are kind of like in shock,
Sure.
because they don't understand what's happening. How is this process so fast if it's such an aggressive cancer?
Right.
So this is the benefit. We are not here to replace uh, doctors or people that had trained for many years. We're just here to walk a person through the process of understanding why is this situation occurring here right now in their lives.
Sure, gotcha. So it's like if someone breaks their leg, they're going to set the bone and put a cast on it. And so the cast is helping the bone heal, but they're also going to give you crutches to help make sure that bone gets better. So you're the crutches as well. You're not the thing directly on the bone, but you're making sure the bone gets healed the best way it can by offering your support alongside.
I guess that you can put it that way. It's also a way of understanding, why did I fell down the stairs in
Why
the
did the leg
first
break
place?
in the first
Exactly.
place?
Why did I need to fall down the stairs in the first place? And
To break,
ended up
yeah.
having like a broken
What's
leg,
the
right?
lesson behind the broken bone? What's the information behind the broken
The
bone?
information is crucial, and I think that a lot of people tend to overlook how important
Right.
the environment, the background, and the codes that are behind a wound are.
So one of the things I think people would understand better about what you do is if they understand that point right there.
Mm-hmm.
So from your philosophy, your opinion, anything that happens to someone, there's a reason why it happens.
There's a reason.
It's not just a reason why the thing was caused. So like you said, if someone breaks their leg falling down the steps, obviously falling down the steps broke the leg.
Yes.
And obviously the boy, whatever, tripping over the toy that was on the floor caused him to fall. But what you do that goes that next step is, why was the fall necessary? Not why did it happen, but what lesson, what necessary information is in the fall? Why did the fall have to happen to that person at that time in that way to that part of their body? Is that accurate?
Yes, and I think that if I open that rabbit hole right now, we're going to end up taking much longer. But the whole idea, guys, is that I want to walk you through the process of understanding everything that Paul is just saying, because there's so much more to it. Like, what is that fall trying to prevent? What are the codes that we have in our unconscious mind or subconscious mind that are telling us that we need that fall right now, because there's something that it's actually trying to keep us safe from? So these are things that we're going to be exploring in different podcast episodes.
Different conversations
In
later
different conversations, exactly. And that way you will be able to understand the logic behind many emotional situations, as well as many physical symptoms and things like accidents. Also, things like, why do you choose the partner that you have right now in your life? Everything has a reason. Everything has a reason that comes from your subconscious mind, and it has been stored throughout the evolution of your lineage.
So that makes a little more sense maybe to someone who's heard you, but maybe has missed that part of what you've tried to communicate. So being that that's your philosophy in life and every symptom or problem anyone has in their life, why would it be beneficial for someone to have sessions with you as opposed to more traditional forms of therapy, like Freudian therapy, where you're sitting down and talking with someone that has this preset ideas of what this information means, what should and shouldn't happen, like with traditional Freudian therapy?
Okay, here one thing that I think is important to emphasize on is that it's not better, like one thing's not better than the other. What I would say is, have you tried one way and it didn't work?
Okay.
I've heard like that definition of how craziness could
Insanity
be
is
just
doing the same thing and expecting
over and
different
over.
results.
Exactly. So that's kind of like the invitation. I'm
Okay.
not saying it doesn't work because a lot of people have been benefited from it. But I think that if you have already tried that and you have not been able to overcome whatever it is that is giving you anxiety or that is making you go through a bad process, maybe what you want to do is to try to understand the root of why are you creating this relationship or these problems in your life in the first place,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, because before I met you, again, you put that in a good way. Before I met you, I never considered anything beyond that. If you had a problem and wanted to, I mean, of course, you have a medical problem, you see a doctor. You have an emotional, psychological problem, you see a psychologist or psychiatrist,
Yeah.
whichever one you need to see. But yeah, I never really took into account what that extra step, like you're saying, how you're there to walk alongside. And honestly, I mean, if you're still dealing with the same problems from 10 years ago and you've been seeing a psychiatrist for 10 years and that same problem still occurs, why not just switch it up a little bit? Why not come see and talk to you about it?
And I think that the other thing that is super important about this approach is that you start applying that to absolutely everything in your life, not just the problem
Right,
that you have in front of you, which could be a bad relationship, but why are the things that happen around me happening for?
right.
Like,
So
is
it's
this
a
in cycle with something? This is another concept that we're going to explore throughout the program because, as you know, things in nature tend to follow certain cycles,
mhm,
and your life is no different from that.
right,
So you will be able to understand a little bit more of why is this happening now, and it happened half of my life ago,
right.
or it happened a fourth of my life ago. It's like it's
Yeah,
gonna be
because I mean,
so.
I'm sure people have heard it before. Every 7 years, every cell in your body is completely new because your cells are duplicating and dying and coming back. So yeah. Anyway,
That is one type of cycle that we can see in nature. Another thing that you can see is just the Fibonacci sequence and sacred geometry. You see how everything tends to follow certain patterns.
so you're
We
taking a lot of different ideas from different disciplines and putting them together to recognize patterns and to understand why certain symptoms and negative actions are repeating in your life.
Absolutely. And this is very important for people to understand. I would love to take the credit for something as wonderful as this is, but there are many different branches and philosophies that study these type of things. And the philosophy that I follow in order to address these things from that perspective is the philosophy of conscious bioexistence, which also looks into a lot of different subjects like epigenetics, as we talked about, sacred geometry, studies of your family tree,
So that's what I wanted to
and
ask. What are some of the tools that you would use in a session with someone? I mean, because you said you have clients who have breast cancer who are seeing you for their breast cancer, and you said you have clients who are seeing you because they want a closer emotional connection to their kid. Those are two wildly different things. So I'm sure, obviously, not every session is going to be the same. So you're going to have a lot of different tools and theories you're going to have to implement in your sessions, I assume.
yes. So we're gonna have, or what we use in Acero Holistic Consulting are different tools to walk different people based on what they want. Like there is one that is the one that I was talking about, which is a conscious bioexistence certified process, and we do that by the book, following the structures that are dictated from Humano Puente, which is the center that created this, right?
So
But
Umano
I
Puente is the center that created the philosophy
of
of
conscious
conscious bioexistence.
bioexistence.
Okay.
That is correct. And we address either physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, financial situations throughout this methodology. But I'm also offering a traditional method of holistic health coaching therapy, just in case you're interested in a more traditional way of losing weight and becoming healthier overall, and you're not interested in just going as deep into your subconscious as some people are afraid or do not feel comfortable with that yet, which is totally valid.
So you can go super deep like the conscious bioexistence route, or you can go the more
Like, let's start taking
surface area,
exactly.
the surface area, the surface level. Okay, let me just get my habits as a parent, as a partner, as my own self. Let me just kind of streamline my life a little bit.
We can also go and see what was happening on an ancestral level. And this is something that has been explored through different psychological currents, which is just putting up your family tree together and understanding which ancestor are you more related to. And that will kind of give you a map on why do you make decisions the way you make them. People just sometimes rather go there. We have other approaches that are going to help you empower yourself and rescue all of those versions of yourself that were trapped in moments in which they were not able to be empowered enough throughout different situations in life. And so we have many different tools. And I think that what's important is that overall, these tools have the purpose of getting you to understand deeper aspects of yourself. And that's what I'm aiming for.
Okay, I gotcha. So that's why you're able to have clients with such a wide range of different symptoms, from severe medical problems like breast cancer to something like seeming minor. I don't know, let's just say like someone keeps someone can't sleep well at night.
Yeah, correct.
So two wildly different things. Maybe one's medical, maybe the other one's not necessarily medical. But the reason why you're able to treat so many different types of people is because you're looking for the root cause that's hidden somewhere deep down inside. You're not approaching things from a medical perspective. You're not trying to treat this symptom that I can see on the surface. You're going deeper to try to solve what is below the surface, what is unseen, so that these problems do not keep occurring again in the future. Is that a correct way to put it?
I mean, you can put it that way, but one of the things that it's important for people to understand is that the symptom is there to give us a guide. And it's like a door that is going to help us become more aware of ourselves, whether the symptom goes away or not.
Okay.
The whole idea is for you to be able to connect with yourself on a deeper level that you have not achieved before.
Okay, so to understand more, to
To
understand
understand
yourself more.
more, to
Okay.
understand, some people call it what is your purpose in life. And so many people just go around life just coming from one thing to the other, and they don't like
They don't feel that connection. They don't feel that pull.
yeah, they just move through life without ever getting to wonder, why am I here?
Right.
you know and so I think that all of these processes are designed to help you become more aware of your true self.
All right. I feel like we did a pretty good job of clearing some things up there. Um, so, is there anything else you'd like your listeners to know about you, Juanita, or anything else about what Acero Holistic Consulting has to offer?
I want to thank everyone for listening to this first podcast. I want to thank you for being here as well. I think that what it's important for you to know is that I am here. I'm doing this because this is something I feel passionate about, because I was able to transform my life by applying certain principles and by doing this whole self awareness trip that I've been doing throughout many years. And I think that the benefits that you get from getting to know yourself on a deep level are immense. And so I am very happy walking people through this process. And it can be a process that at points might be a little bit painful, and it might be like shedding, layers of skin. But what is on the other side of the process is worth seeing. It's worth living. It's worth going through. So stay tuned for other episodes to understand a little bit more about specific symptoms or things related to relationships, or more things about awareness, consciousness, and evolution, because I think that you will get something very valuable for your life after each of these episodes.